Today we're covering Review 17, Compare and Order Rational Numbers. A rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. For example, 4/5 or 2/3. Only thing is when we're comparing or ordering them, it's a little different to compare fractions because they have to have the same denominator. So we would have to find an equivalent fraction so that they could both have the same denominator. The other option is we can change them all to their decimal form in order to compare them. And usually students like that method better. So we're going to change them to decimals so that we can compare. Let's look at Review 17, Guided Practice. Number 1, list the rational numbers in order from greatest to least. So 4/5 as a decimal is 0.8. 2/3 as a decimal is 0.6 repeating. And then we have 0.5 and 75%. Well, 75% as a decimal would be 0.75. It probably would help if you wrote them a second time and lined up the decimals. It might even help if you added zeros so that they all had the same number of digits. Now 2/3, I can't add a 0 to the second digit. I need to add a 6 because it's repeating. So which one of those is the greatest? So we want to write 4/5 first because that's what that was originally. And next would be the 0.75. That was 75%. And then next would be the repeating 6, which is 2/3. And then 0.5. Same thing for number 2. Change them all to decimals. One third is a repeating decimal, so it gets a little hat. And then we want to write them up and down with the decimals lined up. They all kind of look very similar on this one. Okay, the biggest one, the one with the most digits, has 3 digits. So we want to give all of them 3 digits. That means I'm going to put in 0 placeholders. Now, this one was supposed to be repeating, so I can't put in the zeros. I have to put in the repeating 3. So now that they all have the same digits, the smallest one is 300. And 300 was the 3/10. So that one's gone. The next one's going to be the 301, decimal 301. And then the 33%. And then finally, the repeating 3, which was 1/3. Number 3. Thurman made 30 out of 40 free throws last season. Ray made 28 out of 35. And Jonathan's free throw average was 85%. Order these free throw percentages from greatest to least. It says percentages, so it wants them all to be percentages. Can't change them just to decimals this time. So we have Thurman with 30 over 40. And we have Ray, which was 28 out of 35. And then Jonathan, which was 85%. Well, at least he's already a percent, so I don't have to do anything to him. Let's try simplifying. And if we simplify by 10, that would be like taking off a 0 on top and bottom. That makes 3/4. And 3/4 is 3/4, which is 0.75, which is 75%. 28 and 35 can both be simplified by 7. 28 divided by 7 makes 4. 35 divided by 7 makes 5. And 4/5 is a decimal. Remember, 4/5 are like counting 20s. So 20, 40, 60, 80. 4 of them would be 80. So 0.80 is 80%. Which of those is the greatest? 85% is the greatest. And then 80. And then 75%. The next one is the same. See if you can do that one by yourself. You can even pause the video and see if you can do it by yourself. All the Science Club members were given 25 candy bars to sell. Jordan sold 12 bars, Daisy sold 7 bars, Angel sold 23 bars, and Fatima sold 2 bars. List these as percent in order from greatest to least. So we'll start with Jordan, who sold 12 out of 25. Daisy, who sold 7 out of 25. Angel sold 23 out of 25. And Fatima sold 2 out of 25. Remember, if we're changing something to a percent means per 100. So if I change the denominator to be a 100, then I'll know what it is as a percent. What would we do to 25 to change it to a 100? Times 4. So if I do that on top, Jordan would get 48 over 100, which is 48%. Same thing for Daisy. 7 times 4 would be 28 over 100, which is 28%. Angel, again, times 4, and 23 times 4 would make 92 out of 100, which is 92%. Fatima also times 4. 2 times 4 makes 8. 8 out of 100 is 8%. Don't forget, you're supposed to list them in order from greatest to least. So the greatest was 92%, then 48%, then 28%, and finally 8%. Number 5. Christian's batting average is .385. Ethan had a hit 18 out of his last 48 at bats, and Ian has had a hit of 42% of his at bats. Order these batting averages from least to greatest. So So Christian had 0.385. Ethan had 18 out of 48. And Ian had 42%. Let's change all of those to decimals so that we can see which one is the least or the smallest. Well, I'm going to start with Ian because 42% would make, just move the decimal over, 0.42. And since this one has 3 digits, I'm going to give him one more 0. Let's see, could I simplify this one? What could I divide both of those numbers by? 2 works. 3 would probably work. 6 works. And I think 6 is the biggest. So 18 divided by 6 makes 3. And 48 divided by 6 makes 8. And I hope you memorized what 3/8 is as a decimal. If not, you're going to divide it out. But if you remember, you can just write what it is. Now that I have them all as decimals, which one is the smallest? Ethan had the littlest number. Next would be Christian. And last would be Ian. Number 6. To get to school, 38% of the students ride in the family vehicle. 5 out of 12 students ride the school bus, and 0.12 of the students ride a bike. Order the types of transportation students use to get to the school from least to greatest. This time it doesn't tell me whether I want to have them as percents or decimals, so we're just going to pick decimals. So 38% ride the family vehicle. That would be like a car. So family vehicle. And then 5 out of 12 ride the bus. And 0.12 ride a bike. 38% would be 0.38. 5/12, well, that doesn't simplify, and it's not one that we've memorized. Gonna have to divide that one. Man, horse, so that means the top number needs to go inside the house, and the bottom number goes outside. 12 goes into 50 4 times. 12 goes into 20 once. 12 goes into 80 6 times. With 8 left over, oh, it's repeating. So that last number's repeating. So that's 0.416. Well, that's 3 digits. So I want the rest of them to have 3 digits too. Now, who was the littlest? The bike, because it starts with a 1. And then the family vehicle, because it starts with a 3. And then the biggest number would be the bus. Let's look at the independent practice, the side you're supposed to do by yourself. Number 1, you're just putting those in order. So change them all to decimals and then put them in order from greatest to least. And you might want to write that down just in case you forget which way you're supposed to be going. Number 2, again, same thing. You can change them all to decimals, but you're supposed to put them in order from least to greatest this time. And then number 3, list the rational numbers in order from greatest to least. So again, greatest to least. Number 4, list them in order from least to greatest. Make sure you go in the right direction because it'll be wrong if you mix those up. And number 5 is greatest to least. Okay, let's look at number 6. Tom has completed 27 out of 30 passes. Michael has completed 18 out of 21 passes. Tony has completed 87% of his passes. Order the quarterback's passing percentages from greatest to least. So we're supposed to change them all to percents and put them in order. So we have Tom with 27 out of 30. Then we have Michael with 18 out of 21. And then we have Tony with 87%. Since Tony's already a percent, we just need to change Tom and Michael. Let's try simplifying Tom and see if it comes out to one of those that we were supposed to memorize. What can I simplify 27 and 30 by? They both divide by 3. So 27 divided by 3 makes 9, and 30 divided by 3 makes 10. And 9/10 would be 0.9. If I move the decimal 2 spaces, that's 90%. And then Michael, let's try to simplify him. What could we divide those by? I think we can divide them by 3. $18 divided by 3 is 6, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. But that's not on the list, so we're going to have to divide it out. How many times does 7 go into 60? 8 times, because 8 times 7 is 56. Then we subtract and get 4. And how many times does 7 go into 40? 5 times. 5 times 7 is 35. And you subtract and get 5. Bring down a 0. How many times does 7 go into 50? 7 times, because 7 times 7 makes 49. No, nothing has repeated yet. We have 1 left over. It seems like this is going to keep going for a while. Do I have enough information to make a percent? Percents only go 2 spaces past, right? We move the decimal 2 spaces. So do I have enough to make a decimal into a percent? Yes, this would be 85.7%. And that's enough for me to tell what order they would go in. The greatest is going to be the 90%. The next greatest is 87%. And then finally we have 85.7%. And you can finish the rest by yourself.